Hello friends and welcome. Today we shall talk about quantum mechanics followed by time independent Schrodinger equation, that is H psi is equal to E psi, and we shall also try to understand the meaning of various terms in it, and finally we shall underline the significance of psi and psi square. Now we will start with the introduction about quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics, also known as quantum physics or quantum theory, including quantum field theory, is a fundamental branch of physics concerned with processes involving, for example, atoms and photons. Systems such as these which obey quantum mechanics can be in a quantum superposition of different states, unlike in classical physics. Quantum mechanics gradually arose from Max Planck's solution in 1900 to the black body radiation problem reported in 1859 and Albert Einstein's 1905 paper, which offered a quantum-based theory to explain the photoelectric effect. Early quantum theory was profoundly reconceived in the mid-1920s. Quantum mechanics is the science of very small. Quantum mechanics explains the behavior of matter and its interactions with energy on the scale of atoms and subatomic particles. By contrast, classical physics only explains matter and energy on a scale familiar to human experience, including the behavior of astronomical bodies such as the moon. Classical physics is still used in much of modern science and technology. However, towards the end of the 19th century, scientists discovered phenomena in both the large, that is macro, and the small, that is micro worlds that classical physics could not explain. Coming to terms with these limitations led to two major revolutions in physics which created a shift in the original scientific paradigm, that is the theory of relativity and the development of quantum mechanics. Light behaves in some respects like particles and in other respects like waves. Matter, that is particles such as electrons and atoms, exhibits wave-like behavior too. Some light sources, including neon lights, give off only certain frequencies of light. Quantum mechanics shows that light, along with all other forms of electromagnetic radiation, comes in discrete units called photons and predicts its energies, colors and spectral intensities. Since one never observes half a photon, a single photon is a quantum or smallest observable amount of the electromagnetic field. More broadly, quantum mechanics shows that many quantities such as angular momentum that appear to be continuous in the zoomed out view of classical mechanics turn out to be quantized. Angular momentum is required to take on one of a set of discrete allowable values, and since the gap between these values is so minute that discontinuity is only apparent at the atomic level. Many aspects of quantum mechanics are counterintuitive and can seem paradoxical because they describe behavior quite different from that seen at larger length scales. Now, let us discuss the first quantum theory, that is Max Planck theory of black body radiation. Thermal radiation is electromagnetic radiation emitted from the surface of an object due to the object's internal energy. If an object is heated sufficiently, it starts to emit light at the red end of the spectrum as it becomes red hot. Heating it further causes the color to change from red to yellow, white and blue as light at shorter wavelengths, that is higher frequencies, begins to be emitted. A perfect emitter is also a perfect absorber. When it is cold, such an object looks perfectly black because it absorbs all the light that falls on it and emits none. Consequently, an ideal thermal emitter is known as a black body and the radiation it emits is called black body radiation. In the late 19th century, thermal radiation had been fairly well characterized experimentally. However, classical physics led to the Rayleigh-Jeans law, which as shown in the figure agrees with the experimental results well at low frequencies, but strongly disagrees at high frequencies. Physicists searched for a single theory that explained all the experimental results. The first model that was able to explain the full spectrum of thermal radiation was put forward by Max Planck in 1900. He proposed a mathematical model in which the thermal radiation was in equilibrium with a set of harmonic oscillators. To reproduce the experimental results, he had to assume that each oscillator emitted an integer number of units of energy at its single characteristic frequency rather than being able to emit any arbitrary amount of energy. In other words, the energy emitted by an oscillator was quantized. The quantum of energy for each oscillator according to Planck was proportional to the frequency of the oscillator, that is, the constant of proportionality is now known as the Planck constant. The Planck constant, usually written as h, has the value of 6.63 multiplied by 10 raised power minus 34 joule second. So, the energy E of an oscillator of frequency f is given by E is equal to n multiplied by h multiplied by f, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. To change the color of such a radiating body, it is necessary to change its temperature. Planck's law explains why increasing the temperature of a body allows it to emit more energy overall and means that a larger proportion of the energy is towards the violet end of the spectrum. Planck's law was the first quantum theory in physics, and Planck won the Nobel Prize in 1918 in recognition of the services he rendered to the advancement of physics by his discovery of energy quanta. Now, let us discuss the quantization of light. In 1905, Albert Einstein took an extra step. He suggested that quantization was not just a mathematical construct, but that the energy in a beam of light actually occurs in individual packets, which are now called as photons. The energy of a single photon is given by its frequency multiplied by Planck's constant, that is, E is equal to h multiplied by f. In 1887, Heinrich Hertz observed that when light with sufficient frequency hits a metallic surface, it emits electrons. In 1902, Philip Lenard discovered that the maximum possible energy of an ejected electron is related to the frequency of the light, not to its intensity. If the frequency is too low, no electrons are ejected regardless of the intensity. Strong beams of light towards the red end of the spectrum might produce no electrical potential at all, while weak beams of light towards the violet end of the spectrum would produce higher and higher voltages. The lowest frequency of light that can cause electrons to be emitted, called the threshold frequency, is different for different metals. To explain the threshold effect, Einstein argued that it takes a certain amount of energy, called the work function and denoted by phi, to remove an electron from the metal. This amount of energy is different for each metal. If the energy of the photon is less than the work function, then it does not carry sufficient energy to remove the electron from the metal. The threshold frequency, that is F0, is the frequency of a photon whose energy is equal to the work function, that is, phi is equal to h multiplied by F0. If F is greater than F0, the energy hf is enough to remove an electron. The ejected electron has a kinetic energy Ek, which is at most equal to the photon's energy minus the energy needed to dislodge the electron from the metal, that is, Ek is equal to h multiplied by f minus phi is equal to h multiplied by f minus f0. Now, Coming to the applications of quantum mechanics. Applications of quantum mechanics include the laser, the transistor, the electron microscope, and magnetic resonance imaging. A special class of quantum mechanical application is related to microscopic quantum phenomena such as superfluid helium and superconductors. The study of semiconductors led to the invention of the diode and the transistor, which are indispensable for modern electronics. In even the simple light switch, quantum tunneling is absolutely vital, as otherwise the electrons in the electric current could not penetrate the potential barrier made up of a layer of oxide. Flash memory chips found in USB drives also use quantum tunneling to erase their memory cells. Now let us discuss the next part of our today's lecture, that is time independent Schrodinger equation, that is H psi is equal to E psi, and meaning of various terms in it. In quantum mechanics, the Schrodinger equation is a partial differential equation that describes how the quantum state of a quantum system changes with time. It was formulated in late 1925 and published in 1926 by the Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger. In classical mechanics, Newton's second law, that is F is equal to ma, is used to make a mathematical prediction as to what path a given system will take following a set of known initial conditions. In quantum mechanics, the analog of Newton's law is Schrödinger's equation for a quantum system, that is usually atoms, molecules and subatomic particles, whether free, bound or localized. It is not a simple algebraic equation, but in general a linear partial differential equation describing the time evolution of the system's wave function, also called as state function. The concept of a wave function is a fundamental postulate of quantum mechanics. Although Schrödinger's equation is often presented as a separate postulate, some authors show that some properties resulting from Schrödinger's equation may be deduced just from symmetry principles alone, for example, the commutation relations. The Schrödinger equation is not the only way to make predictions in quantum mechanics, that is, other formulations can be used, such as Werner Heisenberg's matrix mechanics and Richard Feynman's path integral formulation. Now coming to the time dependent equation. The form of the Schrödinger equation depends on the physical situation. The most general form is the time dependent Schrödinger equation, which gives a description of a system evolving with time. I h cross multiplied by partial t psi r t is equal to h psi r t, where I is the imaginary unit, h cross is the Planck constant divided by 2 pi. The symbol partial t indicates a partial derivative with respect to time t. The Greek letter psi is the wave function of the quantum system. R and t are the position vector and time respectively, and h is the Hamiltonian operator, which characterizes the total energy of any given wave function and takes different forms depending on the situation. Now coming to the time independent equation. The time dependent Schrödinger equation just described predicts that wave functions can form standing waves called stationary states, also called orbitals, as in atomic orbitals or molecular orbitals. These states are important in their own right, and if the stationary states are classified and understood, then it becomes easier to solve the time dependent Schrödinger equation for any state. Stationary states can also be described by a simpler form of the Schrödinger equation, that is the time independent Schrödinger equation. This is only used when the Hamiltonian itself is not dependent on time explicitly. However, even in this case, the total wave function still has a time dependency. The time independent Schrödinger equation can be written as H psi is equal to E psi. In words, the equation states that when the Hamiltonian operator acts on a certain wave function psi and the result is proportional to the same wave function psi, then psi is a stationary state and the proportionality constant E is the energy of the state psi. The time independent Schrodinger equation is further discussed as follows. In linear algebra terminology, this equation is an eigenvalue equation. The time independent Schrodinger equation for a single non-relativistic particle can be written as minus h cross square divided by 2 mu delta squared plus Vr multiplied by psi r is equal to E psi r. Now coming to the time independent Schrodinger equation and its solution in one dimension. The time independent Schrodinger equation in one dimension is d square psi x divided by dx square plus 2m divided by h cross square multiplied by E minus ux multiplied by psi x is equal to 0, where E and ux are the total non-relativistic and potential energies of a particle of mass m respectively. The Schrodinger equation and its solutions introduced a breakthrough in thinking about physics. Schrodinger's equation was the first of its type and solutions led to consequences that were very unusual and unexpected for the time. The overall form of the equation is not unusual or unexpected as it uses the principle of the conservation of energy. Now at last, let us discuss the significance of psi and psi square. The wave function psi has no physical significance except that it represents the wave amplitude. Psi depends on the coordinates of the particle. In some cases, it may turn out to be a complex function of the form psi is equal to a plus ib, where a and b are real functions of the coordinates and I is iota. This complex nature of psi is necessary if one is to use superposition of wave functions to describe the interference effects in matter waves. The complex conjugate of psi is psi star is equal to a minus ib. Therefore, psi psi star equals a plus ib multiplied by a minus ib is equal to a square plus b square. If psi is real, psi psi star is identical to psi square. Neither psi nor psi star has any physical significance, but psi psi star or psi square has. The product of psi psi star will always be real, whereas psi square can possibly be imaginary. In dealing with all forms of wave motions such as light waves, sound waves or matter waves, the square of the wave amplitude at any point is interpreted as the intensity of the effect at that point. So, the value of psi psi star at any point around the nucleus gives measure of the electronic charge density at that point, the density of which varies from point to point around the nucleus. According to the statistical interpretation, the electron is still considered as a particle and the value of psi psi star at any point is taken to represent the probability of finding the electron at that point at a given instant. According to uncertainty principle, the position of the electron cannot be determined with certainty. Thus, psi psi star is interpreted as giving a direct measure of probability. Consequently, the greater the intensity of wave function at a particular point, greater is the probability of locating the electron at that point. When psi square is high, electron density is high, that is the probability of finding an electron is high. Now, some properties of wave function psi. First, psi is a continuous function. Second, psi can be interpreted as the amplitude of the matter wave at any point in space and time. Third, psi allows for the calculation of allowed energy values and momentum through the Schrodinger equation. Fourth, psi allows for the calculation of a probability distribution in three-dimensional space. That's all about today's lecture. Hope you have understood it well. Thank you and goodbye.